the script, I mean, if you could have been at our read-throughs, the read-throughs were fantastic.
Let's talk about the characters and like how you each got into your role and who you play. So Phoebe, let's talk a little bit about Daphne, who you played. Who is she and who does she represent in the series?
Yeah, so Daphne is the eldest of the Bridgerton family. She's the first woman young woman to be out on the marriage mart. This is her sort of debut into society. So yeah, when we meet her, she sort of conforms to these sort of old-fashioned social rules that obviously very much bounded women, and they had to go out and they had to find a husband, and that was their future. That's what they had going for them. So yeah, when we meet her, she's ready to do that. She's quite driven in that sense. And then we sort of watch her as these 6 episodes is sort of a coming of age, and we watch her as she sort of grows into her own. And also what I found the most fascinating is within that context, sort of still managed to have a voice and to be able to say yes and no. And she's sort of still very much in control of her future, really, in a way, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. And Regé, you get to play a Duke, Duke Simon Bassett. Tell us about Simon and who he is.
Simon is a thoroughly complex, thoroughly wounded, tall, dark, mysterious, brooding kind of a Duke. He's very much this archetype of your dark and surly anti-hero and romantic kind of lead and figure of desire. And so he's a beautifully kind of mixed bag of things for me to play with and things that desperately need fixing over the course potentially of 8 episodes or more. And it's a fun journey to plug into, seeing how it manages fitting into a society that in many ways has never wanted him, and that he in turn has decided he wants no part of. I think that's kind of him in a nutshell, a rather large nutshell, but a nutshell nonetheless.
And what about for you, Adjoa, playing Lady Danbury? I loved your character. So talk about what it was like playing her and who she is.
Well, I'm glad you love her. I love her as well. She is, well, for the period, she's quite an extraordinarily free woman. She's a Dowager Duchess, which means that she is the widow of a duke. So for a woman, as Phoebe was saying about her character, women at this time, their lives were very ring-fenced, truncated in many ways. And the dynamism of who they were as a person wasn't necessarily given its free rein. They were still, if married, the chattels of their husband, if not, the chattels of their fathers or their older male siblings. So what's exciting for me about Lady Danbury is she has no children, she has no husband, she has a lot of money, and she has a lot of power. She's friends with the Queen. I think what I really love about her is she has a real appetite for life, a real generosity. She doesn't suffer fools, but she can feel out people's fragility, and she leans into that. And so she makes lovely friendships with other characters in the show. She's friends with the Queen. She's friends with Daphne's mother, Lady Bridgerton. And she loves Simon dearly because she was a friend of his mother's. So there's so I think friendship and love and loyalty and just, leaning into that extra power that she has available to her are real big drivers for Lady Danbury.
Yeah. What was it like getting a script like this? Because it seems like every romance, adaptation is Jane Austen. And, this wasn't. It was completely different and so refreshing. Phoebe, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways in which I was so overjoyed to read the script. I, like Chris, was such a fan of that, you know, of that era, of the Jane era and period dramas in general, and getting a script where, you know, these women are very much confined to the reality of the time. However, they also all have agency in their own way, which was really interesting to read in that script. And also, I think fascination for me, or what really made it quite fascinating, was seeing you know, the female gaze that's so prevalent throughout the show, and the way in which Daphne's discovering her sexuality, which has been so hidden from her. You know, she has absolutely no idea what sex or what romance really is. So all of this journey is her discovering that. And as I said, it is very much through the female gaze. And I thought that was a really interesting way of portraying. And it's such a different take. I've never really seen, as Chris said, that quite sort of one aspect of women at those times, where, you know, they were very sort of almost not non-sexual beings in a way, not really portrayed as having that appetite. So to be able to play that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Adjoa, what about for you, getting this script and seeing Lady Danbury on the page and knowing that this is the great character that you'd get to play?
Well, the script is full of zingers, what I call zingers. I grew up with Jean Plaidy and Georgette Heyer and all those historical romances. So that's where I learned my history, and that's where I learned about romance and possible sexual awakenings was all through my mother's historical romances, which I'd be secretly sort of sneaking off the shelves. So what this show is like that, but on steroids. It's got a sort of real 21st century page turning, attention grabbing aspect to it, so that the script, I mean, if you could have been at our read-throughs, the read-throughs were fantastic. The energy and the joy and the buzz and the playing off each other was really exciting. And that's just, you know, that's just sitting around a table. That isn't in location, in fabulous outfits, with horses and, you know, massive crowds of people. You know, that's just around a table. So the scripts were fantastically exciting. And you just knew that, you know, Chris has got so much experience in making this really vibrant, exciting, addictive work. And so pouring all that into this sort of context of these characters. And as Phoebe says, there are these hugely dynamic women who are all sort of pushing their boundaries. And the dialogue reminds me, you know, there's a real element of that His Girl Friday, you know, the Cary Grant and the Katharine Hepburn. It's got that sort of muscularity to it, and that wit and that energy, and also it's got a real uplift and a joy to it. And I think we want the intrigue, and we want to know what's going to happen next, and we also want to have all our senses stimulated, so visually, aurally, intellectually, sexually. It's all sort of frothing along.
Can I say
Oh my gosh.
Go on, Adjoa.
Yeah, telling us all her secrets now. I mean, Regé, what about for you? Getting that script, I mean, I don't know, did you do any of the romantic novel reading?
Not until I got the script. I mean, it was a real... and then I kind of devoured everything I could on the plane on the way back to work with it. That was a thrill. And the speed and the zip that Adjoa talks about was familiar to me. I was lucky enough to have been working with Shondaland for a couple of years previously, and was very lucky that kind of, so when we came to these scripts, it felt like coming home. I was aware of this speed, zip. Ad says the show is a little bit like a period drama on steroids. To me, it feels like it's been dipped in cotton candy. It's just funnier, faster, more glamorous, more colorful. and just a lot of fun. And so I think the early conversations that I had before signing on were very much about what is this project, and the opportunities were to do something exciting that hasn't been done in what people think of as period drama. Chris says that they're traditionally very conservative. There's kind of this walled garden of the way you're meant to make this that hasn't really moved on generically in the last couple of 100 years. And this was an opportunity to smash those walls open and have some fun with a period in high society that is insanely glamorous and insanely fun to explore the kind of dark crevices of, as cast by all this glorious light.